If the court will recall, Your Honor, we previously sort of had the hearing.
She stepped out. She went to the restroom. Probation officer. I don't know if she stepped out for just a minute.
Yeah, dark hair, like.
So yes, in glasses.
Yes.
Yes. I know. Someone fall down here. Maybe your last. Probably take some up down furnaces.
While we are waiting, I received a while back this memo from the probation office. And it was, they wrote, it was suggested the defendant reimburse the family the cost of funeral services in the amount of $6,000. Has that been done?
Yes, that was paid at sentencing.
Okay. So we are here in the matter of Joseph Duncan in cause number 19-33323. Mr. Duncan was placed on probation in 2021 for accident involving death or serious bodily injuries. And this one is, in this case, the victim was killed in this event. And it is a second degree felony under Texas law. So the defendant has been on probation now. So for 4 years, over 4 years, you spent 180 days in the county jail as a condition of probation.
Yeah, so it is safety, Judge.
There was shock probation. But it says 180 days county jail. Did you do that actually?
He did, Judge. So he went in, he actually went to TDC. We brought him back. The court then placed him on probation and sent him to safety. And he sat in the county jail on his way to safety.
Okay. So you did like about 6 months in the county jail? More than that?
With it all combined.
Yeah, I think he did about.
And then how long were you in
Over a year.
How long were you in the substance abuse felony punishment facility? The safety.
6 months.
6 months.
Yes, sir.
All right. So a motion has been made for early termination of probation. And what says the statement?
Judge, I first of all objected to him getting shock probation. I wanted him in penitentiary, which is what I argued for the first time. And I'm still of the opinion that he needs to be held accountable for the whole term and not just, he has a prior probation on a misdemeanor that I think he had right before this offense. Since he went to safety, I think we need to keep a sharper, closer eye on him just to make sure that the full term that he stays clean and sober and everything's good. And I disagree.
Have you talked to the family about it?
I did not call the family on this because last time when I talked to him about the sentencing and when he got the probation, the shock probation, they were upset. I didn't want to upset them with the holidays with all this. And so I just did not call them about it. And that's probably my bad if the court thinks I should have. I just did not want to stir them up with this because this is right around the holidays. They don't need this extra stress in their life.
On probation, what does the probation office, can you update me on status of probation, please?
As far as his inactive conditions, he's been doing those. We did do an UA Monday, I believe, in which he tested negative. He is still working. He's doing all what he's supposed to.
Okay, what are there conditions of probation that are that he's working on that still yet to need to be completed?
No, sir.
Okay.
And just to be candid with the court, I think he's been on inactive probation for a little while. He's not reporting except for every now and then.
That is correct, Judge. And also, if I may remind the court, we actually had a pretty long, lengthy hearing on May 15th of this year, where the court heard a variety of issues. The probation department's position, the probation department had initially told him that they were fine with him seeking early discharge after 3 years, which is why we filed the motion at the 3-year mark. We then finally got a hearing with the court on May 15th. The probation department said that even though that was communicated to him, their position was they wanted to keep him on probation for another 6 months. And the court said, I'm inclined to grant the motion, but I am going to keep you on probation for another 6 months. And we reset this to this date. So just
How long has he been on inactive? Has he ever been on? Is he on an inactive status right now?
Yes, since January of this year.
Free.
Since January this year.
which is when the probation department initially said that they were fine with the early discharge. And again, we came to court on May 15th. We understood we had another 6 months. I told him, look, you got to continue to be an angel for the next 6 months. And he's paid everything. He's done everything. And the reason why this is so important, it's not just the motion for early discharge, Judge, but there's also a request further in there regarding judicial clemency. And it's because he has an exceptional job and he's trying to get promoted at that job. He has kids, small kids, a wife. He's trying to get promoted at that job and he's unable to do that with the status of the case as it currently is. And so, again, this was all gone over in great length at that May 15th hearing. And he's done everything he's supposed to do in the 6 months since then. And so we're asking the court to grant the motion.
Judge, as far as judicial clemency, with the way this offense went down and the way he lied to the police and tried to blame it on somebody that might have stolen his car, lied to him initially, just tried to hide the whole thing. And that's after he had had a probation before on misdemeanor charge. That just does not set well with, he's got a job, he's working. If they think he's good enough, they can work around that if they need to. I just don't think the clemency, even if you grant the early termination, it should be granted.
All right. What I'm going to do is the anniversary of this so he's been on probation for 4 years since April 21st of 21. Right.
So it's actually been on probation for 4.5 years.
4.5 years. And what I'm inclined to grant an early discharge from probation, but I'm reluctant to do it right now. I'm going to consider this. I want to reset it in 4 weeks. Okay. Come back in 4 weeks.
The problem with that, Judge, is, again, we were here May 15th and the court indicated that it was going to do it. The only issue was we were going to wait and go with the probation's request that we do this in 6 months. And so here we've come back. He has a promotion waiting for him at his job. He was hoping to be able to start with the new promotion in January. That job likely cannot keep that open, just continued and continued and continued. And I mean, he's done everything we've asked him to do. The probation department originally said, we have no issue with your early termination after 3 years. We filed the motion in the 3 years. We come to this court May 15th. The court, we had a very lengthy hearing. I think we were here for 30 or 45 minutes. The court did research on the judicial clemency issue. We went back and forth. The probation department said, look, we're fine with the early discharge. That was the recommendation of the department, but we want another 6 months. We're back here in another 6 months and we're delaying it again. Meanwhile, I mean, the loss of the promotion to him is significant financial sacrifice. And I just hate to keep delaying this, and then he loses that potential promotion, and I just think it's unfair. The court gave the complete indication in that May 15th hearing that it was going to grant this.
And I can appreciate your position. What I can't help but worry about and be concerned about is the victim is dead forever. How important is that? The loss of a life. And I want the family.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to know how the family
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to contact them.
about an early discharge too.
Yes, sir.
And as long as they're satisfied, because it's not only justice for defendant and his rights, but victims want to feel like the system was fair to them. And I don't know what they say.
I'll contact them, Judge. I have no problem with that. I just didn't
But
want to do it.
I'm going to stand by my word. I granted him something that is unusual in the first place. I don't remember any time before in my career allowing somebody to be placed on a case like this where there was a loss of life to be in a position for probation that is now in a not only do we suspend, but the actual placement in custody was the least I've ever allowed on my watch. But it's because I thought the circumstances of the way the defendant was handling his problem needed to have some relief for him. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And he's doing well, and I reward people for doing well. I'd like to hear what the family
Yes, sir.
has to say about this, but at the end, it's my decision. I'd like to know if there's anything else the family feels like they need from me or the state or from the defendant so that everybody can move on with their life.
Yes, sir. I'll contact them.
And maybe there is something
And if I could-
that they're thinking about. But when it comes to a loss of life like this, and I'd like the family to at least feel that the court was sensitive to their concerns and their needs. I don't see any demands of them here that are being requested. But if there's something else, because when I terminate this, it's done, it's terminated. And if there's something else that they felt like the defendant needed to do to resolve their loss in some way that's reasonable, then I'd like to accommodate them.
Yes, sir.
Just for human decency.
I'll contact them, Judge.
But
What will those accommodations be, Judge?
I don't know. I don't want to see. I don't know. I want to see if there's anything that they have that we're missing here, because I'm going to be terminating this. And once it's terminated, if they said, well, we want, if they wanted, or there was something else that was needed to close this chapter somehow. Did you know of anything that the victims had ever said from probation about
sir, I received
anything else?
the case.
Restitution had been paid, and was there anything else that from the state that
Was there anything else requested, Judge, that I know of? I do want to get I will get their input as to whether there's anything they can think of, but I don't think there's going to be just as far as restitution. portions or something that we need to do. I
Can you
think
get
that,
back with me?
but I would, yes, sir. I can get back with you in a week.
Compensated by his insurance company. And in order to.
Can you get back with me in a week?
We paid the additional restitution for the funeral that had already been settled by the insurance company, just as a gesture of trying to do that. And
It doesn't hurt to give it one more week to let them give me input on if there's anything else.
Another week or another
1
month?
week.
Oh, 1 week. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll call him. I'll get a hold of him.
Okay.
So we come back next week?
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. 24 CR 2385 is now called the State of Texas versus Leon Goodman III. That's you? Here. Your attorney, Mr. Samuel, and the state's attorney.
He had some drug patch issues. He's
You
pleading to probation today.
We like to have.
At probation, he just tested positive a couple weeks ago.
We brought forward just in case because Mr. Samuel is going to demand a test today because he says he doesn't understand how he's.
Where is, yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, go in and get a test. Okay. Well, we do anything.
Okay. He's pleading to, we'll plead probation after he gets through the test.
Yeah, that's it. We can get people out of jail if they need to, by the way. You know, if they're close, you know, then let's get them out. Please, for humanitarian gesture, if nothing else, okay? If you can succeed, find them. And if they're worthy. All right, 25 CR 1477. You or Jarian Smith.
Yes, sir.
And you were charged here with third-degree felony of obstruction or retaliation, which can carry with it up to 10 years in prison. Can't believe that kind of language.
Yeah.
Especially when you're sitting there with drugs in the car and all right. What are we doing today?
Today's an initial appearance. Again, Mr. Smith spoke yesterday on the phone. We need a little more time with the discovery. And so we can get about 4 weeks or whatever. I don't know when Christmas falls, but sometime in the beginning of January, where the next date is.
State, anything?
I'll never.
A reset. 4 weeks. Is that good? Is that a good week?
5 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks, whatever that gets into January, whatever that
5 weeks.
is.
Let's do
Oh,
5
yeah,
weeks,
fine.
okay?
Yeah.
Get a resetting and then have a seat over there. Thanks,
Right here from.
Daniel. When you're multitasking,
Good and bad.
24 CR 2385 is now called the State of Texas versus Leon Goodman III, who's present with his attorney and the state's attorney. Mr. Samuel, does the defendant waive a formal reading of this indictment and the arraignment? Can we proceed in a summary fashion?
Yes, Your Honor.
In summary, this indictment alleges that on or about July 6th, 2024, in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed the third-degree felony of injury to a child younger than 15 years of age. You understand what you're charged with here.
Yes, sir.
If convicted, you face a term of not more than 10 years or less than 2 years in prison. In addition, a fine may be assessed not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
An agreement's been reached where you would be pleading guilty and placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation, which can be up to 10 years in length. Fine $500. Is that your understanding of the plan?
Yes, sir.
If I follow this agreement, you have no right of appeal to your case. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
It's got to sign something here. That last. At the bottom.
Go try to go out like that. That's in place.
Again, sir, how do you plead to this third-degree felony charge, guilty or not guilty? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily? That is on your own free will and because you are guilty of what this alleges.
Yes, sir.
Show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 1. Did you sign that document voluntarily? Understand it? Discuss it with your attorney or the contents all true and correct?
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit 1 is tendered into evidence.
No objection.
And without objection, it's admitted. Among other things, this states you are mentally competent to enter your guilty plea. It's freely and voluntarily made. You know what you've been charged with. The indictment's been read to you. You've read it. You are guilty of the crime charged and any lesser included offenses. You are giving up your rights to a jury trial and the rights to the appearance, confrontation, cross-examination of witnesses. You are totally satisfied with the representation provided by your lawyer. All of this is true. It states, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Correct. States Exhibit 1, part of the record for all purposes. Pre-sentence report is waived.
Yes, sir.
I am going to follow this agreement. Yeah, go ahead.
Your Honor, this is a bit unusual, but this is a case that I didn't get much sleep last night about this. It kind of concerns me. One is about the way the operation of the patch has been. It shows he has consistently had dirty patch.
What was
And-
it saying?
He's arguing about the drug patch.
Oh, these things?
Yeah, we hadn't talked about that since we're doing the probation yet, so we'll see.
Well, it's consistent. It's showing up positive for phencyclidine,
Right,
which is about as bad a drug as you can get.
right.
Well,
And
We're gonna-
here's the thing.
okay, unless you can prove otherwise, I'm going to trust the science of the methodology that we've been using.
I understand,
No.
and I just wanted to bring it to the attention because this young man I've been working with for now about 9 months, and I was even when I received these tests, it perplexed me, but I felt from my experience with him and what he's trying to do, it kind of concerned me because this is a guy that I've seen use a scooter. He's working at McDonald's, 19, and he's used a scooter to get to work. And he's finally purchased a car. He's working.
What does that have to do with his?
It's his character.
Or
And
Well, wait,
this
hold on.
is
hold on. But he struck a 7-year-old child. Is that also odd of his character?
yes, it is.
Okay, I know, but he admitted to it. He's
He did.
admitted to it. Okay,
Your Honor-
so he's capable of doing bad things.
But the light that these things have shed on him impacts the way people perceive him. And that's why I really had a problem with the case.
We
Because
never had problems with, historically, we never had issues on challenges. We can always have it, I guess, but these tests are never challenged. And when they are, I guess we can deal with them. But there has never been anything that's proven to me in 20 years
well, we hope we don't have any other
That-
problems.
these are false.
Yeah.
These would be false because we're going to continue to use these as the industry standard.
And as I told him, this is the first time I've had concerns about him. So we're okay, but there are glitches at times. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something in his, I don't know. But this really bothered me. And
Well, it's all that I need to
and that's what had me so concerned.
basis because all I need is preponderance of the evidence, and I'm going to trust the medical standard unless you're able to convince me otherwise, but this is the industry standard. And
What we're gonna do, we're gonna get hair follicles also on his own. I'm just concerned about this being.
those hair follicles, okay, here's another thing. Those hair follicles, nah. On his own, no. You want to do a hair follicle, we'll come in and we'll get it done through, because you can use a hair follicle, put a hair follicle aside and then throw it into to
Okay,
the test.
well, I just want to make sure.
And he's controlling the test.
Okay.
But this is really weird. Well, and let me ask you, do you have an explanation for this? Is there why would you be testing positive for phencyclidine? Any reason? Well, you're going to have to come up with a good reason, because I'm going to presume these tests to be accurate if they are properly administered. The methodology of administering, that's always subject to question, and that's why it has to be proven it was done correctly. But the science of it and the acceptance in by government officials and by lab testing, these folks stand by the accuracy of their tests. So these are 4 or 5 positive tests of phencyclidine, which is as bad a drug as you can get. And they won't be tolerated on the court's watch. I've never had these many successive tests. So you're going to have to figure it out too. If there's something being done that's inaccurately causing these to show you are positive for phencyclidine, you better have a good reason.
Kind of do some research on it. Okay.
You better have a good reason.
Okay.
Because we're going to tend to agree with the test unless it can be proven that it was not administered properly. But the packaging, the way it is controlled, and the way it is administered, in the way it is supposed to be done to pass all government requirements, there's not a likelihood that these are false when you have this many. Something is happening wrong here. Okay.
Yes.
But you're on probation now, and this is probation for a 3rd-degree felony.
Yes.
10 years in prison or what you're going to be facing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is sufficient findings. State's Exhibit 1 is admitted here. You have pleaded guilty
Yes, sir.
to this indictment voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 admitted here to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to place you on deferred or unadjudicated probation. I generally do 10 years, and then I reward people. You can be released in a third of this, which is 3 1/3 years for good behavior. And I actually do it numerous times each week for people. We move them off when we've got it done. So that's what you're looking at, is you can be released 3 1/3 years for doing well. You're going to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Even though I could find you guilty, I'm not going to. I'm going to defer or postpone any finding of guilt so long as you follow the terms and conditions of probation that the probation office is preparing, and they go over those with you. And most of those requirements are what I have to do, the same requirements I do, and I'm not on probation. So these are all done to help you be the best you can be.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we also are very prideful on our great success rate of probationers. We don't want you in that 7 or 8% that are failing. We have a 92 to 93% success rate, which is way higher than the national average of probation office.
Yes.
Because we don't like failure. We want you to succeed, but you've got to do your part. We're not going to drag you. we're going to help you, but you got to walk on your own two legs across the finish line. Successful. You're able to do it, right? This phencyclidine stuff, I don't know where that's coming from, but first of all, that's straight from hell. And I mean, there's very little usage for it, and it's in a very limited area, and it has no purpose, good, decent purpose, being used without authority of a physician. And it would, I don't even know why it would be used. I think it's used in some limited, very limited purposes, but phencyclidine is the devil itself. And it does not help you be the best person you can be, or anyone else who flirts with it. So be very careful.
This concerns me.
That's well, I don't know how that happens. If it's, you know, we don't know, and but we also know he's a smart guy. I'm a smart guy. We've done this long enough. This is unusual.
Yes, sir.
When we see this happening, there's generally only one reason. You're not telling us the truth. You know it. Then you're not telling us the truth. That's generally what the answer is. Now, there can be an exception, but it's really hard to imagine how you can have a consistent positive reading if you're not around it, and that you're around it, and not knowing that you're around it. I mean, I guess somebody could inadvertently be slipping that on you without you being aware of it, but I don't know how that can happen. And that I've never heard of such a thing. And I don't even want to suggest it to the outside world for people to come up with ideas. But we do this enough to know there's a consistency in the method that we practice up here. And when we see something unusual, it gets our attention because an anomaly is generally not a good act by the defendant. It's generally their mistake, not ours or the test or the machine. So be careful. And phencyclidine is a felony. That's a felony offense. It's a very serious felony because it's such a dangerous thing. Okay. So we got you here. You've got a second chance. Make the most of it. What are you doing for your occupation? For work?
I'm working at McDonald's. McDonald's.
Okay. What do you do there?
I'm a crew leader.
Crew leader?
Yes, sir.
Are you good at it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Those McNuggets. What's the secret ingredient? No, I don't want you to tell me. I don't want you to tell me. There's a good corporation. Do you have managerial? Are you trying to get into the management position?
For the start of my career.
Okay, is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're going to be around for a long time, and I hear they are very they award their people who are loyal to them, so they're a good company.
So was there a $500 fine on that?
There was a $500 fine, among other conditions of probation. There will be conditions of probation which are normal and customary for this type of offense. Is there anything else that's unusual on this one for these facts?
No, Your Honor.
To a child.
No, Your Honor. This was not his child. This was something totally, it was a weird anomaly.
Yeah. That's his child in the back.
Okay, but, well, yeah, you got to be careful about.
He stepped in, that was some children. Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, where was the parents?
The parents, they were nowhere around.
They were nowhere around?
I was the only.
Have you talked to the parents about it?
No, sir.
No.
I was upstate, 100 feet away
Well,
from them.
generally that's their responsibility, but also you can't, you have a humanitarian requirement of helping to prevent injuries to children.
Yes.
But there must be something else behind this that, but anyway, you got deferred, make the most of it, and do well in your career. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Stay away from illegal substances. Okay. Anything else? That is all. Please see the probation officer. Thank you.
Judge. Can I go off to this?